before the first CP. I was in the dust behind Mione, and as I was coming to pass him, there was a big stone, and bomb, I smashed the front wheel. And I thought John Brucey was close behind our mechanic rider, and he never came after half an hour. I had to fix the wheel myself, and you know, trying to come with a broken wheel, there's big risk to go at high speed, and I've had to stop and fix the wheel 2-3 times along the way, and I've lost a lot of time. And
Frédéric Moncassin, winner of stages on the Tour de France, but only in 1996, and indeed leading overall the Tour de France, the biggest and the best cycle race in the world, is now doing the Dakar. Having said that, once he gets to the bivouac, Moncassin finding time to, well, get in a little bit of training. The cycle is a passion for me. I discovered cycling when 3.5 years old, when my father did trials and took me along with him. He had a 350 Bultaco, and maybe this is the reason why I am involved on two wheels. The bike is very difficult because the fitness of the rider and the competitiveness of the bike is very difficult rather than the fitness of just me on a cycle on a stage of the Tour de France. Drama and action has kicked off the Dakar on day 7. Jean-Louis Schlesser here in the zone just before the second control point today. The engine wouldn't start for some reason or other. 3 policemen or so, plus his teammate Jose Maria Servio, push starting the V6 that then barks into life and continues on. Now that is technically against the rules, and at the moment, as this program has been produced here in the middle of the Sahara Desert, it is to be decided what is to happen to Schlesser this evening. However, Jean-Pierre Fontenay in his Mitsubishi therefore took the lead at one point because Schlesser had a puncture with one of the rear tyres, and therefore Schless had to stop and change it. Jean-Pierre Fontenay in the blue and white 201 Mitsubishi Pajero was essentially leading the rally overall, but only on the road. Jose Maria Servia and the second Schlesser buggy, two-wheel drive of course, finished second on the stage. Schlesser was victorious, which is why there could be a penalty of time. We do not know what time it will be at the moment. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe even 1 hour, some people are saying. We shall find out. However, a problem for the Frenchman Jean-Pierre Fontenay under the bonnet of the Mitsu, and look at that, Schlesser then repasses Fontenay on the stage. Fontenay finished third today, but he was 12.5 minutes back. But soon Fontenay was fighting back. A real battle, absolutely hammer and tongs, the pair of them were at it. French drivers, but one French car for Schlesser and one Japanese car for Fontenay. You regularly think of circuit racing involving people passing each other regularly. However, the Dakar has really taken the breath away from many people in the bivouac this evening with these images. So then, what of the rest? Masuoka managed to get past Jean-Pierre Fontenay. Masuoka finishing 4th on the stage today, 18 minutes and 1 second. Then Fontenay had a problem. Look at that left-hand rear tyre, the one closest to our camera. You can see it has a puncture, and he just looks out just to check, and then roadbook on the dashboard. Tyre change in operation. Matsuoka continued on. Constant revs on the long, long open stretches. But it was Schlesser who was victorious, followed by Jose Maria Servia on the stage today. Fontenay third, Matsuoka fourth. That was your top four, covered by 18 minutes. Kenjiro Shinazuka, seventh on the stage today. Co-driven, of course, by Ulster's Fred Gallagher. No problems for Shinazuka today. Gregoire de Mavius on board with the two-time Group N World Rally Champion. Co-driver saying, just keep things in touch. Go left, go left. Now, de Mavius had a problem. He lost his brakes for 150 kilometers. And Gregoire was therefore using the gearbox to lose some speed. In the end, he trusted the brake pedal, even though it was only having a little bit of feel right at the bottom of the pedal. Quite unnerving, obviously, for de Mavius. Jutta Kleinschmidt, sixth on the stage today. By the way, Gregoire de Mavius, 14th on the stage after that brake problem. Here is Bruno Sabi, ninth today. He's talking to us and he says the car is developed well, but likewise it's still got a bit more potential to run. What we want is to follow our project to the next level. We have not the same facilities in which to compete against the others, i.e. the big manufacturers, and sometimes, though, we do get up there. Bit of a handful, as you can see. Look at that, lock to lock. He's Bruno Sabi, former European rally champion, of course. Enrad had a good day today, 12th position for him in his Volkswagen-based buggy, whilst America's Darren Skilton continues in his Kia, and a correction from earlier, Kurt Leduc does continue the Dakar 2001 in his sister Kia machine.
300, wash, 1 mark.
Thierry Delaverne had a massive problem with his front left shock absorber today. It exploded and of course it lost all its oil, and no shocking means, as you can see on the upright there, that wheel running at a very incorrect angle. Delaverne lucky to get through the stage to finish 8th. Matsuoka given the stage win for the time being, but maybe Schlesser will be reinstated. Please keep in touch. Servia up to second, Fontenay up to third, Schlesser, as you can see, back there in third. However, Schlesser leads overall, Servia in second, Fontenay, Matsuoka and Souza.
Today, first 400 kilometers, a little bit long, and very, very funny beginning. And last 100 kilometers, every time is jumping. So our car is perfect, every time flap. So I like my Pajero. So today I'm very happy.
Je pensais que j'avais quelque chose de bloqué.
I thought I had something wrong with the engine.
Vous étiez là? Ah bon?
Et alors, vous savez que vous avez peut-être une pénalité.
Ah non, pourquoi?
Do you know that you'll have a penalty because you were pushed? No, says Jean-Louis. No, why? My co-driver and the men, my teammates, helped me, but I was not pushed. I haven't been pushed in any way, and I left the control point under my own steam. This evening, on day 7 of the Dakar 2001, sees the first arrival of the airborne mechanics, rather than those travelling with the circus in the service trucks. Dakar organisers trying to reduce the number of aeroplanes after a silly number a few years ago. This is Patrick Zanaroli saying, this year we want to reduce the number of aeroplanes, and therefore we have 3 rotation of airborne mechanics, and the first is here this evening in Smara, where they arrived at 10 o'clock this morning. Now the mechanics can work all night, but tomorrow morning they must return back to Paris. Curiously though, he says there's only 50 of them on the flight. Now this decision has been made because of safety, and therefore there have been more service trucks this year than any other year. Eventually we want to get it down to 1 rotation of airborne mechanics, which will be on the middle day of the rally, i.e. the rest day. Free service, of course, on the Dakar, unlike the WRC. With regard to the racing trucks, the big monsters of the desert, it was a good day for the Tatra squad of Lopre. Meanwhile, here is De Azevedo, the Brazilian driver, with the 2 Czech Republic co-drivers. Meanwhile, problems for the Kamaz crew of Chagin, who lost 10.5 minutes after having to, well, get into some truck consultancy. Therefore, leading overall is Kabirov, Chagin De Azevedo in 3rd. These guys, well, they really are the boys. One of the Nissan service trucks. Whoops. That's what they said anyway. Just missing out completely and reversing completely into one of the Mitsubishis. And a few words will be exchanged, and indeed a few insurance papers. Trying to get the thing towed out and rolling. And he does. Tomorrow sees us start the first of the 8 Mauritanian stages, the first desert stage and the longest stage of the rally. And I mean the first really big desert stage. It brings together all types of terrain, and the competitors will discover many, many types of terrain on this particular stage. A real monster, 619 kilometers.